Hello. Oh, hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Hello, Lucinda. Don't worry. I was live being like, oh, so we've had a few different test things and bits, haven't we? So I was just about to resend and you're here. So wonderful. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you as long as you can hear me.
I can hear you, I can see you, and oh, it's lovely. If you got I like the must be the lens of your camera. It's a nice wide like view, and you can see the lovely background with the paintings and all of those things.
Yes,
I
you've got
like
my
that.
whole sitting room. I'm sitting under my skylight because I thought it was better light for
Nice for
people
the
to
light.
see.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Well, look, welcome. And in the before we were live together now, I was just sharing a little bit about where we met, and you know what you do, but only very briefly. So it would be brilliant, Lucinda, for you to just give a general sort of introduction of who you are, and what it is you do. Feel like Cilla Black or something.
you are sweet. Thank you so much. Well, I am how do you put it? I say complementary therapist, but use I help people, let's put it this way, let's be much more succinct. I help people with trauma, stress, somebody that's going through cancer, going through long-term illnesses. And I've learned a number of different techniques uh, to help people travel that road to negotiate all those things because everything, the physical and the mental are inextricably linked.
Mm.
And I use energy therapies, somatic treatment. So I'm a Reiki master and teacher. And I also use a technique called EFT in its short version. It's also known as tapping. And in its long version, it's called emotional freedom technique, which doesn't mean to say that you are free of your emotions if you use it. But what we're doing is we're allowing people to talk about negative stuff and be all right about it. Because when we have negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, um, they block our energy system. And we need to deal with those, find out where they started, what they started for, and why, and get to the root of where it all began so that we can experience things as though we're going, that's very odd. I have a light shining on my head. I really must change that. Or is it raining outside? Do I need an umbrella? So you don't want any emotional intensity attached to whatever the event or the that has happened in the past or maybe going to happen in the future.
Mm.
Um, and I came to it because I went through um, a difficult moment in my life. I went through a divorce. I went through having my ovaries taken out and then forgetting to tell me that I needed HRT or something to replace sort of things.
Oh,
And I moved
yeah.
house at the same time. So
Oh,
it was a triple whammy.
wasn't the
And
rosiest of times.
and I had a girlfriend who took me to learn Reiki. And I will thank her for the rest of my days for it. And and it was because of learning Reiki, which I realized that I'd always felt I had tingling in my hands and this and that and the next thing. Um, it was something that I could always do, but I never knew how to or what to. And anyway, one of the girls who was learning with me when we got to the master teacher level also used EFT, and she did a morning of would you like to get to know what it's all about? So I went along and thought, oh, this sounds quite jolly. Um, and so I went and I discovered what tapping on various parts of your face could do for you because it sounds such a bizarre thing to be doing, talking and tapping. But what you're doing is you're tapping, we hold our emotions in our organs. So in your liver and your stomach and so on and spleen and so on and so forth. And which are the lines that hold the energy that allows everything to flow through our body. And I don't know enough about meridians. You need to talk to somebody who's expert on that. But the points that we tap on are acupuncture points. So instead of using
Right.
needles, we're using our fingers. And what we're doing as we tap, we're helping to unblock the blockages in our energy system in a safe and controlled way. So with EFT, we have the amygdala, which is at the back of our brain here. And that's where the fight, flight, and freeze response is. And I'm sure you and loads of people know about that. But sometimes when we go through a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of difficulty in our lives, it gets switched on and it stays switched on.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to find a way to switch it off. And by using the tapping, what we're doing is we're switching it off and we're calming it down. We're calming the brain down, allowing us to access all sorts of other stuff. And when you are calmer, you look at the world in a different way. When you start looking at things in a calmer way, you find ways of managing, dealing, and sorting. But also, it allows you to address the things that are causing what we call the disruption in your energy system. So the stress, the anxiety. But we want to find out where we learned to react in situations that are similar to this, so that we can perhaps think of a way to change our reactions and our ways of reacting in these situations. So many of them go back to when we were little, and in ways that we just don't expect. I'm quite dyslexic, so the idea of me of standing up and talking to anybody fills me with complete horror. But I can remember doing it at school, and of course everybody sort of laughed and giggled when you stood up and you didn't pronounce it properly, or you took too long to do it, and the teacher went, please don't stand up, or you would sit down, or there would be comments and so on and so forth. And it gives you that feeling of, I can't do this, I'm not good enough. And so, if it happens often enough, you just don't try.
Yes.
But now, when I do things like this, I do a lot of tapping before I come on and talk to you. And I will show you.
That's great to know. And so, so you did it before coming on to this today.
Yeah. So just because I teach it doesn't mean to say that I don't still have some of these things. Yeah. But what I do is I have a tool that gets me out of it quicker and calms things down, so that I'm able to take a breath.
Yeah.
And address it in a calmer way.
Yeah.
And if I go back to the beginning, it means that you can unpick a lot of the things that have happened between then and now. And actually, it means that frequently it doesn't happen at all anymore.
Right. Yeah. Because over time, you've sort of processed and come to terms with.
Well, you just pick it up into a bigger and bigger and bigger mushroom, and a bigger and bigger problem, and a bigger and bigger something that you're having to cope with, when actually you can unpick it and work out where it all came from. And you go, what I do when I work with somebody one-to-one is that I take what their problem is, for want of a better word, what it is that's causing them stress and anxiety, what is now, and we work it back to when did you last feel like this? Yeah. When was the first time you felt like this? What was going on when it first happened? And then you start working back, and when you dissolve all the emotions and the feelings around when it first happened, what you're doing is then you're allowing the brain to go, oh, I'm so glad I got rid of that one. Now I can move on in a different way.
Yeah. Do you know, I have to say, Lucinda, I feel not that I was stressed before, but just hearing you talk, you've got a very calming voice, and I think perhaps as well, even as you're explaining it, like that word, sort of like dissolving all the emotions. That's sort of a really I don't know, beautiful and quite visual, like you say, the brain going.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And we live in a very stressful world.
Yes.
Where everything is supposed to be done now or even yesterday. I might have got the email this morning, but they still want the answer yesterday because everybody's in this zip,
It's
zip,
like,
zip,
did you get
zip,
my
zip.
email that you sent 30 seconds ago?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Everybody's chasing everything. There's no room to breathe. And actually, that's one of the things another thing I look at is I go, just because you get the email in doesn't mean to say you have to A, look at it, B, answer it immediately. Because often we answer things in a knee-jerk way. So let's look at it and go, it has to be done now. That has to be done by this afternoon, and that can be done tomorrow or the next day. And we need to all start looking at, we don't have to do it immediately. And then it gives us space to breathe.
Yeah. And I think it's almost that. So we had a lady, so Karen Farrell this morning she did an hour's breath work
Brilliant.
class. And obviously that was around, the physical breathing. But I like what you're saying here as well in terms of those, I guess, sort of being a bit more intentional on, okay, I need to do that now, or that can wait till this afternoon, that can wait today. Like you say, it's sort of metaphorically is actually, yes, we're giving ourselves more space to not be like, oh no, I need to do it now, and just on that constant treadmill and a hamster wheel. And I think it's burnout and things is
Yes.
always reported about being on in the rise and all of those sort of things. So I guess what then, in terms of your viewpoint and your experience with your clients and things, what's the long-term impact of almost not managing our stress and anxiety?
To be honest, you started touching on it, because when we don't look after ourselves and give ourselves time, even if it's just making sure you take lunch at lunchtime and stand up and walk away from your desk, walk away from the building you work in, we look at burnout, because actually we are negotiating. Many of us are managing a job. We may have a partner. We may have children. Depending on our age, we may also have parents who are getting older, at which point they may be looking at needing to be looked after too. So for me, I sort of call people, there's a very large, what one loosely describes as the sandwich generation, who is in the middle of everything. And you're trying to negotiate your work to the best of your ability. You're trying to be the best parent that you can possibly be, because this is not just women, it's men too. And I wish to goodness that men opened up more, but they will eventually. Then you've got your parents, and as long as they're fit and healthy, that's okay. But then suddenly something goes wrong. There's a bit of a glitch. Somebody falls ill. Then you're trying to incorporate all those appointments, all those other things into your existing life, and still try and find time to have a breather. Whether it's going to a class, going to the cinema, actually being with your partner for an evening, even if it's, a best once a month, but maybe, you could get it down to once a week. But, hey, it becomes so difficult to do anything that you end up like a spinning top.
Yes.
Constantly worrying about everybody else. And I think we girls have a tendency to constantly put everybody else first. And then we come at the bottom of the pile, and then something else happens. And just as you're beginning to reach the top, suddenly, somebody else becomes sick and you go down a peg or two, and something else happens and you go down. So we just need to go, okay, I have to find that 10 minutes, that 5 minutes where I'm going to teach everybody a technique, if I may, that I would like everybody to do. Tapping is what we call a somatic energy therapy. And it is to do, there is this whole process about tapping, the long version of tapping on acupuncture points. And it's really important. What we do is we tap here, and we have a phrase that we use, and it's even though, which is saying, hello, brain, I'm about to talk to you. And then we describe what it is that's going on in our lives at the moment. Lots of people are feeling stressed and anxious about, getting together with members of the family that we don't normally get together with, or can I afford to buy, all the things I want to treat my children to, or have I got enough money to go around? And the electricity bill's getting to be twice as much as it ever was. So we have all these stresses and anxieties, maybe around money. At the moment, it seems to be, really on everybody's mind. And then we go, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So we're tapping here, two or three fingers on the side of the hand here. And we will go, even though I have all these stresses and anxieties around.
Lucinda, sorry, so are we going to go, because what I would love to do for the practical part, I'm going to follow along, but rather than, I thought it'd be nice if people can see just you. So if you're comfortable, I'll mute myself and go off.
Yes, because yes, absolutely. And there's a shortcut to doing everyday stuff. But yes, absolutely. I'm very happy to do. Yeah, absolutely. If that's what you would like me to do, I'm very happy to do that.
Let's do that then, and then you can just invite, well, I imagine it will be apparent, or you can just invite me back in. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. So I am going to be doing it as well. So I'll start with stopping my camera, and then I'll hide. So hopefully you can't see me now, and then I'll just
I can't see you, but I can see a picture of you.
Okay. Oh, is that distracting?
It's fine. It's fine. So what I'm going to invite everybody to do is to tap along at the same time. Now, we're not going to cover everything because everybody is going to have something else in mind. So I would invite you to think about something that's not enormously intense at this moment in time, because I'm not obviously able to look after you on a one-to-one basis. But I want to show you how this can be very effective, even by tapping along to somebody else's words, even if it doesn't immediately address your particular piece of something that's stressing and causing anxiety. And then I want you to give it a number from 0 to 10. 0 means whatever it is. It could be, I'm going to be with lots of members of family I'm not sure I like very much at Christmas, or I'm having to deal with the in-laws, or what am I going to do over the school play, or how are we going to pay the electricity bill in January, or it could be anything you like. Work's getting tough, how am I going to manage? Anything you like. But what you're going to do is you're going to tap along to the words that I'm going to use, because you're going to do what we call borrowing benefits. And bizarrely, tapping along, once you've got your own stuff in your mind, tapping along, even if you're tapping to somebody else's words, makes an enormous difference. So I'm going to show you, first of all, what we're going to do, and then we're going to do it together. So, as I've said, we tap on the side of the hand with 2 or 3 fingers, saying this phrase, even though. I'm actually just going to say I have this worry and anxiety. Those are the words I'm going to use, because that may be appropriate for everybody. And then you can use whatever phrase you want there. And then we're going to say, if it's all right with you, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. The more positive you can make that phrase, the better it is. Now, the universe doesn't understand lying. It doesn't understand something that isn't 100% true. So even if you don't feel 100% that you can say that, you could say, I'm okay right now. And that would be good. But it needs to be a positive affirmation. And then what we do is we have tapping points around our face and upper body that we tap on using what we feel in the middle here, about our feelings here. So when we say that piece about I'm feeling tense and anxious, often it gives us a bit of a in our body somewhere. So when I feel tense and anxious, I'm going to spend Christmas with my daughter's in-laws, which is lovely, but I do feel a little bit nervous about it because I've never done that before, and I feel it sitting in my chest. So that's a really good word, because you want to find out where in your body you're holding this emotion that is linked to the phrases of what you're worried about. Actually, I'm also feeling it a little bit in my stomach. And what we're going to do is we're going to go, how intense is that feeling from 0 to 10? So if you weren't feeling, and you were feeling absolutely fine about something, it would be 0 and you wouldn't need to be tapping on it. Or it could be 5, which means it's sort of halfway house. 10 is as bad as it could possibly get. And you're going, no, take me away. I don't want to do it. For me, at the moment, it's about a 4. So what we're going to do then, once we've done this part, is to tap. I'm going to take my glasses off, which means I'm not going to see you all terribly well right now. But I want to show you the beginning of your eyebrow on the bone of your eye socket is the first tapping point. Then on the side of the eye, again on the bone, under your eye, under your nose, on your chin. Now on your collarbone is here, right in the front, where the knot of a man's tie would be. You tap under the arm, and the point under the arm is basically in line with your nipple. So that's whether you're a man or a woman, it's in line with your nipple. And then we tap, as you can see, around the top of the head. So it's really on the top here, so you can absolutely see it. And the reason for that is because all the meridian points come up and finish on the top of the head. And we're tapping on all of those as we do this. Okay. So if you think you've got that, then let's have a go and see how you get on. So I'm going to go, I'll lead and leave a space for you to repeat after me, as they say. And Kim, if you might help lead our audience, you might be able to say it out loud so they know when to do it. Would that work for you?
Yeah, so you want me to, so I'll repeat after you.
Yes, that would be lovely. And then everybody knows where we are. So we're going to start by, even though
I
have these anxieties and tensions.
I have these anxieties and tensions
Going on in my life right now.
I
deeply and completely love and accept myself.
We're going
to do this 2 more times. So even though I have all these anxieties and tensions about what's going on in my life right now, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm experiencing stress and anxiety and some tension about what's going on in my life right now, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And now we're going to do the tapping around the face and the upper body. And we're going to use those words that we've just used now. And we're going to go the stress and anxiety, but at the beginning of the eyebrow. So just say stress and anxiety. These tensions that I'm holding. In my chest and my stomach. This anxiety about what's going on in my life right now. All these emotions that are linked to what's going on in my life right now.
All these emotions linked to what's going on in my life right now.
This stress and anxiety and tension.
This stress and anxiety and tension.
All these emotions linked to what's going on in my life right now.
All these emotions linked to what's going on in my life right now.
I'm holding these feelings in my chest and my stomach.
I'm holding these feelings in my chest and my stomach.
We're going to go round once more, and we're just going to go. I'm holding these feelings in my chest and my stomach.
I'm holding these feelings in my chest and my stomach.
All this anxiety and tension.
All this anxiety and tension.
Around what's going on in my life right now.
Around what's going on in my life right now.
Everything that I'm experiencing right now.
Everything that I'm experiencing right now.
All these emotions and stress.
All these emotions and stress.
This anxiety and tension.
This anxiety and tension.
I'm holding it in my chest and my stomach.
I'm holding it in my chest and my stomach.
It's all to do what's going on in my life right now.
It's all to do with what's going on in my life right now.
Take a nice breath and let it go. Now, you don't have to tell me what you were thinking about or what your number was, but has it gone up or has it gone down? When you think about it, it's gone down. Excellent. So when it's gone down, you do this, and the feelings that you're tapping on and the emotions, actually, the feeling in my chest has reduced enormously. So I don't really feel that anymore, but I still have a little in my stomach. So I would then tap and say these remaining feelings. So I would go, even though I have these remaining feelings.
Even though I have these remaining feelings.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though I still have a few of these feelings left in my stomach.
Even though I still have a few of these feelings left in my stomach.
I accept myself anyway.
I accept myself anyway.
Even though I still have some of these remaining feelings to do with stress and anxiety.
Even though I still have some of these remaining feelings to do with stress and anxiety.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Love and accept myself.
These remaining feelings that I experience in my stomach.
These remaining feelings that I experience in my stomach.
To do with what's going on in my life right now.
To do with what's going on in my life right now.
I still have a few of these remaining feelings.
I still have a few of these remaining feelings.
Sitting in my stomach.
Sitting in my stomach.
They've gone down to a level 2.
They've gone down to a level 2.
But I still have a few remaining.
But I still have a few remaining.
Those remaining feelings of tension and anxiety.
Those remaining feelings of tension and anxiety.
They're sitting in my stomach right now to do with what's going on in my life.
They're sitting in my stomach right now to do with what's going on in my life right now.
Okay, take a nice deep breath. How's that feeling for you now? Has it gone down a bit more?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I may, doing this is wonderful. What we want to do is, when I'm working with somebody, I would take that and I would explore where feeling stressed and anxious about what's going on, or meeting, for me, the in-laws, etc., actually came from, and what was happening, and where meeting people I wasn't sure about might have come, and how I could get to the root of that. And that's part of working. You can do it with yourself, because there is a way of doing this. Or you go, if you think it's quite involved, go and see somebody like myself. But what there is also a technique that I like to teach everybody that comes to see me, and anybody that I actually meet who will let me, because I get very talkative and I get very passionate about it, that everybody should be able to help themselves in the moment.
Love it.
And tapping on your fingers is very similar to doing all this tapping. Now, having done all this tapping, I would prefer you didn't start tapping on anything positive. I know there's a lot out there on YouTube where people are going, oh, I think I feel absolutely wonderful and marvelous and everything's okay, when they've done a few rounds of getting rid of the negative. But until you know you've really got to the bottom of what all that negative stuff is, that positive stuff really is not going to stay in your brain, and it's really not going to work, which is why so many people go, oh, EFT, no, it doesn't really work. It might work for a few hours, but actually all that negative stuff is going to come back because your brain's going to go, what? No. Like that, remember? So until you clear all of that, till your brain actually knows that you've cleared all of that, tapping on positive stuff isn't helpful. But what we can do is in the moment, before something happens, before you're about to give an interview, before you're about to go in and see the in-laws when you ring the doorbell on the car journey there, when you're with them, sitting at the dining room table, when you're in a meeting and you have to do your proposal, when you're going to the dentist and you know you're about to have an injection and you don't like needles, is tap. Anything that makes you feel tapping on your fingers. So I'm going to show you what to do. Now you can do it two-handed because you would do it like this, one finger on the other. But I want to show you how to do it one-handed because it means you can still be talking up here and doing something completely different with your other hand, and nobody knows what's going on. Because you can tap in your pocket, you can tap with one hand behind your back, and you're talking, and I've still got another hand here, so nobody knows that you're doing anything at all. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to take your first finger and tap on the corner of the nail bed of your thumb. And while you're tapping, you're going to say, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling nervous. Then you're going to take your thumb and you're going to tap on the nail bed, the corner of the nail bed of your first finger. Now, this is going to feel really cack-handed to begin with. But believe me, with practice, it's also good for our dexterity. With practice, you're going to be able to do this really well. Then you tap on the corner of the nail bed of your middle finger, and then on the corner of the nail bed of your ring finger, and then on the corner of the nail bed of your little finger. And then you start all over again. Now, if you do breath work, this is wonderful because you can do breathing in, breathing out, in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. So you can do 2 rounds of your fingers. You can do some really nice. So if you use the tip of your finger, so you're using the tip of your finger to tap on your thumb, and then you're using your thumb to tap on the nail bed, the tip of your
Okay, so always your thumb.
Yep, always your thumb. Yeah. It's too difficult otherwise. Like that, like that, and like that. If you're on your own, of course, you can just go like this, like this, like this, like this, and like this. But the reason I teach people to do it one-handed is, as I say, because it allows you to do it in a discreet way, whether you're on a bus or a tube or in a car or wherever you might be, because it's important that we calm the amygdala, take it out of fight, flight, and freeze. When you do that, what you're allowing is to take a breath. Now, talking through what you're feeling tense and nervous about is a really good thing. But if you can't, you can say it in your brain, or you can just use that lovely breathing technique of breathing in and breathing out slowly and really with, concentrated breathing. and it allows your brain to calm. And when you do that, you look at everything else with a clearer view and you approach everything in a much easier way. You're feeling.
Do you know, I'm feeling really good. And I think, like I say, I feel so calm. And I think, as I said, there's something almost sort of melodic about your voice and how you describe it. But what I really like, Lucinda, is that we've then just in like 10 minutes or something, you've done a demo where I'm, doing all the points, and I'm, repeating things, but through to, at some point over the next couple of weeks, I could just be, like I talk with my hands a lot, so but I could still be. So maybe if
Yes.
I'm really nervous, maybe the interview later this evening, I can just do it
Yeah.
and keep breathing. So actually, literally, no one knows. So it's so accessible. And actually, as you know, I've got my son and a couple of his friends coming in to a section later on talking about sort of kindness, and it was that I picked him up. It was Cubs Christmas bingo last night. So we went along and we were in the car on the way home, and he was like, Mummy, so tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, so are millions of people going to be watching? And I was like, darling, Mummy's not, no, I think she's got like 3 subscribers in it. You definitely don't need to worry about millions of people watching, or even hundreds, maybe Daddy, maybe a couple of other people. And we're, anyway, so we were talking, and then I said, Dylan, you don't need to, if you don't want to do it. And again, I explained the whole,
Yeah.
being done it in an age appropriate way, but this is about, raising money for, Mind, and he talks about mental health at school and things, but I was like, it's around how to be kind to ourselves. So if this is causing you stress, then you don't need to do it. I don't want you, and have a think. And anyway, but he was like, no, I do want to do it. I'm just really nervous about it. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's 9.75. So
This would be
again,
perfect.
if he comes in, I can do the
He can,
hand thing with
he
them.
can, he can, he can do this with you. But actually, for children, they love it because it's repetitive. For people, a lot of
Yes.
people who are neurodiverse love it because it's consistent. It's tapping. If you've got OCD, can you imagine how comforting just constantly doing, a
Yes.
tapping technique is? And a lot of children, once they've learnt how to do tapping, it's one of those things that they can do for themselves, but they can do it with their friends. And you can make it fun
Yes.
because under the arms you go woo, 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 like a
Yeah.
or thump your chest. So it may not be specific, and we tap slightly differently with children. We use slightly different language, but it's the sooner you teach children how to do it, the sooner you don't have those little molehills of I wasn't picked for the team at school, or
Yes.
I got
Yeah.
my spelling wrong and everybody giggled, or I did this or
Yeah.
something. And then it mushrooms into, because then you go the next time, your brain is going, do you remember the last time you did this? Something
Yeah.
happened and you didn't really
Yeah.
like it. It was a bit uncomfortable. And that grows. And then the third time, your brain goes, remember the last 2 times. And then
That's gospel. That's what happens. People,
and then
yeah.
what happens is by the time you've got to a grown up, you've got fear of talking in public. You've got, I'm
Yes.
not good enough. People never took me for, chose me for the team. So that means
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. And when you behave, I'm not good enough, you get, I'm not good enough. So
Yeah.
if we can actually teach this to our children at school, I mean, I would love to be going into schools and teaching this because I just think it's so simple.
Yes, so simple. And again, I imagine, I think he'll love it. And um, also, it's not like a all complicated thing they need to remember. And also, well, we've always got our hands with us. And you could be sat in assembly or in the class. And
Yeah.
so tell me then, Lucinda, because obviously in our label, obviously when I'm doing that, I am in no way trained to do this, but so is there a certain amount of, should you do a
I
certain
mean, you
number of
just, I mean, I
counts?
do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, probably 4 or 5 times, not tapping on each point. But you're not tapping on the pad of your finger, my lovely. You're actually tapping on the nail.
Okay, still the
you
same
you
corner.
really, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Always on the nail bed.
And does it matter which side it should be?
You can do it either hand.
Either side, but it always has to be.
The great thing about EFT is you can do it on the left side of the body or the right side.
Okay.
Works just as well. But you do, when you're tapping with 2 hands, you're going to tap. I'm trying to get it up close and personal so you can actually see. So you're tapping on the nail bed, and then you're tapping on the nail bed, and then you're tapping on the nail bed.
Okay.
And then you're tapping on the nail bed, and again on the nail bed.
Yes. Okay.
That's when you're doing it 2-handed, and you're tapping in the same place. When you're doing it 1-handed, you're just using the right.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's important that you do that, because if you think about reflexology, a lot of the head stuff is on the tips of your fingers.
Right.
And what we're doing is we're calming the fight, flight, and freeze. So that anxious, the nervous, a little bit. It's good because it gears us up.
Yes, it gives you adrenaline.
But actually, having too much, so it stops us, is not good.
Yes.
If it gets in the way of us leading the life that we would like to be leading, if it stops you getting on the aeroplane to go on your honeymoon, if it means that making that presentation at work means that you don't pick up that terrific client that's going to do all that good stuff for you or get you your promotion, if meeting the in-laws is tricky, you're not going to look forward to it, and you want it to be a lovely, calming, fun experience. All these different things in our lives. Some people find it hard going out the front door, and it's been, and you go, okay, but if I go out the front door, think of all those other things I could do when I get there.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. This has been so informative. And I know it will be for the people that have streamed in live, but also people listening afterwards. And I love as well how accessible it is from, like I say, from childhood or all the way through, and the different, like I say, almost degrees to which you can do it. So Lucinda, a couple of questions sort of really before we begin to wrap. So for those of you, those that are listening that would like to learn more about you, about holistic training and therapies, your business, and what you offer, how should people go about doing that?
Okay, so the website is all the W's, holistictrainingandtherapies.com. And if you want to email me, it's welcome@holistictrainingandtherapies.com.
And the "and" is AND, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's not an ampersand. It is written in full.
Training and therapies.
And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm there. And so yes, anybody that's feeling stuck, if they would like to get in touch, I can't think of anything worse than somebody feeling as though they've been negotiating something or another for a period of time and you just don't know how to move forward. So I always do, let's have a free conversation before we do anything, because you need to know whether you like me, and you need to know whether you think I sound all right and whether we work all right together. So there's always that. There's a contact sheet on the website, so that there's an easy way of doing that too.
Brilliant. And what I've said to all of the other speakers as well is that after today, and not tomorrow, but either Friday or next week, I will be sharing sort of all the details of all the speakers that have generously given their time. So there is one question that I am asking everybody that I'd love to ask you, Lucinda, and that's, I guess, outside of what you've shared with us today, how do you show your self-kindness?
Do you know what? When I was learning Reiki, I had a lovely Reiki master who sadly is no longer alive. He had dementia and it went the way that it takes many people. And And he, when he first started teaching, said, every morning I get up, before I get up, I give myself Reiki before I even put my feet on the ground, just to help myself. And I thought, well, good for you. We're going to be doing that. But you know what? And I do. My alarm goes off half an hour before I need to get out of bed. I give myself Reiki every morning. I also do something else, which I would ask if you can remember about and I'm happy to do a video for Kim to share with everybody about tapping, is to do some silent tapping for 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes before you go to bed, to help clear your brain so that you get a halfway decent night's sleep. And then in the morning to clear your brain of all the stuff it's been processing while you've been asleep. And it's extraordinary how, tapping at the beginning of the day sets you up for your day, because it helps to clear your mind. And you can tap on, the thought, oh, I've got that client. I've got too many things on my list. I've got to go. Oh, to the supermarket. You can tap on all the things that might be on your to-do list, as well as everything else. But you don't always have to say it all out loud. But doing, if you can, if you can't do it every day, do it when you can remember to do it. But you can tap all day, every day, and it's never going to do you any harm. All it's going to do is keep that amygdala switched out of the fight, flight, and freeze.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot. I had to go for Botox for my migraines yesterday, and all the time they were jabbing needles into me, I was tapping. I was breathing and tapping, because actually, and before I went in, I'm not sure how many needles I like. I can do one at a time, but 30?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. But you're able to
so I was doing that whole, let's be calm before we go in, because if our body is calm, our muscles are relaxed. And when you're relaxed, everything is better.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Oh, Lucinda, thank you so much. If you would be happy to record a short video and share with me that we can share, that would be absolutely wonderful, and would really appreciate that. So I guess before we sort of say farewell for today, is there anything else you wanted to share, or for anyone listening to hear?
No, I think I mean, it is just taking the time to take time, and remembering that actually there's the airline phrase of put on your mask before you put anybody else's on. If you don't look after yourself and you get run down, or you get sick, or whatever else it is, you're not in a position to look after other people. And certainly we as mothers, you and I, Kim, or anybody else, whether you've got parents or grandparents, or whether you're doing a job at work or whatever else it is, if you don't look after yourself, you can't do if you don't physically and emotionally look after yourself, you can't enjoy the other parts of your life. And it's really important for us to remember to do that. And I know businesses are becoming more aware, but actually, somebody like me can come in and work in businesses and be there for you. But businesses need to know that that's what you want.
Yeah. Yes.
So you need to say, we want people who can be here that we can go to. Need to have that it's not so much flexible working, but we need to know that we can do these things. I know at Virgin, and possibly even at Google, you have flexible working insofar as long as you get all your work done, then you can go home. If you don't get your work done, then you stay. So, if you're very efficient and you get it all sorted, then your time within the office is less. But that's fine, because you've been really efficient, and you look after yourself, because then you can go and do the things that give you pleasure.
Yeah.
And that's important. We need to do things that give us pleasure.
We do, we do. And it's the whole, life is too short, isn't it? And
Yes.
yes. Well, look, thank you so much. I like screw everyone else. I really love this session. But no, I know others will that have joined live or listened to afterwards. So thank you so much. And again, I just love as well how, it was we just both happened to go to a networking event and be there and have a
Exactly.
quick conversation. And then yeah, here we are. So
Here we are. And if you ever
thank you
want to
so
do this
much.
again, I would be more than happy to share with you another day.
100%. Yes, we will definitely be in touch again soon. Well, for now, thank you so much, Lucinda. Have a great rest of your day. And if we don't speak before, good luck with the
Yes,
in-law. Be tapping away.
indeed. Enjoy Christmas, enjoy the festive season
Thank
to
you.
you and to everybody that may be watching. And we will catch up shortly. Anon.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
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 Bye bye.